Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome, how are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. In early 2015, I began a search for a Filipina wife. I decided I better broaden my search outside of the United States. Today, I'm going to tell you about a wonderful and satisfying quality I've noticed in my wife. 5 years ago, my pastor sent me an article about a man who found a wife there. And since I had already seen it, it got my attention. Shortly after that, I was a married man, married in Davao City, Philippines. I was looking for someone younger that I was attracted to and was a Christian. That's about it. I didn't have a long list of boxes to check off. An admirable quality I hadn't considered was being responsible. Although I didn't make this a point of emphasis, I did marry a responsible woman. Please subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea and learn about things that a foreigner should know about marrying a Filipina. Podcasts are available as well as a private chat link at lvbts.com. In today's video, let's take a look at a quality you hear a lot about Filipinas, and that is being responsible. I know she is responsible since we have been married since May 10th, 2015, but this quality was evident in my Filipina wife before I even met her in person. And that was only 39 days after I winked at her online from well over 9,000 miles away. I obviously was attracted to this Filipina, but it didn't take long to know there was more to her than that. She was very responsible. I could make a video about the quality of being hardworking, but it will suffice to roll that into being responsible. My wife was a special needs teacher for young students with Down syndrome. She would tell me about the time it took to design learning plans. I was so proud of her. She has a college degree. From looking at her work application, she held other jobs in the Philippines before that. After she accepted my proposal, we decided to get married as soon as we could. If not for me not having a passport or ever thinking I'd need one, and having to be in the Philippines for a mandated 10 days before getting married, we could have gotten married quicker than 54 days. This meant that my wife had a lot of work to do to prepare for our wedding. Designing invitations, making arrangements with a photographer and videographer, arranging a minister, renting a wedding location, finding cooks, a wedding MC, you name it. She was going to do it all herself, all the arranging and organization. Please leave a comment here if you can describe how your Filipina has shown you how responsible she is. This was also the time we had to know what we needed for a spousal visa. My wife handled all of that on her end. She was a busy woman. When I arrived in the Philippines, she continued to work on all of these things, even working extra time, because traditionally she would not be doing much of anything for a couple of days before the wedding. But I remember her doing this up until the morning of the wedding. Some things were not quite up to her expectations, so she asked for them to be redone. And naturally, it wasn't easy finding a barong my size. While dating her, she volunteered that she was all business when it came to work. That hasn't changed since she has been working in America. On her very first day at work on a short temporary assignment that was supposed to last 2 weeks at most, she worked hard on a rework project. And even team leaders were supposed to work on this because they had to get it done, along with many other people. My wife made quite the impression as she peeled labels off faster than anyone else, it seems. I started hearing noise about this Filipina who made a good impression that day. When her 2 weeks was up, they asked her to stick around a while longer because of her work ethic. The manager even took the time to show her how to use a hand jack, so I knew they had recognized her strong work ethic. Eventually, she was hired permanently. At this time, she has been working since March or so of 2016, and she got here in January of 2016. Later, 10 small uniforms were found with her name on them. They were the smallest ones, and her pants looked too big on her, but she was in. She works overtime as much as she can. She pays a couple of our utility bills, which she has continued to do after buying a brand new 2017 SUV with full extended warranty. She made plans to pay it all off in 3 years after the down payment was made, and she's on pace. She takes great care of this car, of course, because she is responsible. She takes good care of all of her things. maintains a nice house, clean house, shops, pays off our credit card bill. I can trust this woman. One responsibility a Filipina often bears is to help provide for her family back home. My wife is no exception. She has done that since being here in America. I had to persuade her to not overwork herself. While doing this, she keeps a nice, clean house, does all the cooking. Yes, this is a responsible woman I married. I am very proud of her. Should we retire in the Philippines, she has an idea for a job she can have that we're tossing around, and this time she would not be working so many hours. You might think she wouldn't have time to be a good wife to me, but I would know the answer to that, and I think she is a great wife to me. When you are sorting out a Filipina to marry, you might ask her about the jobs she's had, the responsibilities she's had in her life, the type of things she could see herself doing if she married you and immigrated to your country. This could give you an idea of how responsible she is. I am so happy that I can rely on my love beyond the sea.